Last year, a couple closed on their dream home. 3 weeks later, they got a notice from the county. The finished basement they fell in love with, built without permits. They had two options: pay $40,000 to bring it up to code or tear it down entirely. Nobody warned them. Not their agent, not their inspector, and the records were public the whole time. This channel exists because that story is not rare. Unpermitted structures, zoning violations, drainage problems, easements, structural defects, and more. These are issues that can cost buyers tens of thousands of dollars, and in most cases, they're completely discoverable before you close. Welcome to Before You Close, where we help everyday buyers understand what's actually attached to a property before it becomes your problem. The cost of overlooked property issues. Here's something most buyers don't realize until it's too late. The home buying process moves fast. Offers, counteroffers, inspections, appraisals, and closing. It can all happen in a matter of weeks. And in that rush, it's easy to focus on the excitement of the purchase and miss the details that could cost you later. The numbers are sobering. Industry data suggests that somewhere between 80 and 90% of home sales involve inspection issues that need attention. Structural problems, foundation issues, electrical problems, failing HVAC systems. Depending on severity, repairs can run anywhere from a few $1,000s to over $50,000 or more. And that doesn't even account for the zoning violations or unpermitted structures, which can come with their own legal and financial consequences. The frustrating part: most of these problems leave clues. You just have to know where to look and what questions to ask. That's exactly what this channel is going to cover. Unpermitted structures. Let's start with one of the most common surprises buyers run into: unpermitted construction. Picture this. You're buying a home with a beautifully finished basement, a converted garage, or a large deck out back. It looks great. The seller is proud of it. Your agent loves it. But nobody pulled a permit when it was built. Here's why that matters. When a structure is built without permits, it means it was never inspected by the local building department. There's no guarantee it meets code, and when you buy that property, you inherit that problem. What can happen next? The county or city could require you to tear it down. Your insurance company may refuse to cover it, and when you go to sell someday, it becomes your problem to disclose. In the PDF guide linked below, I walk you through exactly how to find permit records for any property, what to look for, and the specific red flags that should concern you. Zoning restrictions. Here's a scenario that catches buyers off guard more often than you'd think. Someone buys a property planning to run a small business out of it, add a rental unit in the backyard, or use it as a short-term rental. They close on the property, start making plans, and then find out the zoning doesn't allow any of it. Zoning laws determine how a property can legally be used, and they are extremely specific. A property zoned for single-family residential use may prohibit short-term rentals, home-based businesses, additional dwellings, or certain types of construction entirely. Violations aren't just theoretical. They can result in fines, forced closure of a business, or being required to remove structures that don't comply. Before you buy, it's worth a simple phone call or online search with your local planning or zoning department. Tell them the address, tell them what you're planning to do with the property. They'll tell you if it's allowed. That one conversation can prevent a very costly misunderstanding. Drainage and water problems. If there's one thing that causes more long-term damage to a home than almost anything else, it's water. And we're not just talking about a leaky roof or a dripping pipe. We're talking about how water moves around and underneath a property, and whether it's moving away from your home or toward it. Here are some things to pay attention to. Is the ground around the foundation sloping away from the house, or does it slope toward it? Where are the downspouts draining? Are there low areas in the yard that collect water after rain? Is the property in or near a FEMA-designated flood zone? These aren't just cosmetic concerns. Water that Consistently pools near a foundation can cause cracking, shifting, and long-term structural damage. Mold becomes a real possibility once moisture gets inside walls or a crawl space. Many of these issues are visible during a careful walkthrough, but buyers who are focused on finishes and square footage often walk right past them. Slow down and look at how the property handles water, especially if you're visiting after a rainstorm. Easements and access. This one surprises a lot of buyers, partly because it's not something most people ever think about when shopping for a home. An easement is a legal right that allows someone else to use a portion of your property for a specific purpose. That could be a utility company running power lines across the back corner of the lot. It could be a shared driveway that a neighbor has the legal right to use. It could be a drainage corridor that runs through your yard. Here's the important part. That easement stays with the property. You buy the house, you inherit whatever rights came with it. Why does that matter? It can limit where you're allowed to build. A fence, a shed, an addition. If it falls within an easement area, you may not be allowed to put it there. Future development plans can be significantly restricted. Easements are recorded in the county property records, and they're typically included in a title search. But it's worth asking your agent or title company specifically. Make sure you understand exactly what easements exist and where they're located on the lot before you close. Deferred maintenance. Every property requires upkeep, and when that upkeep gets ignored long enough, small problems quietly become expensive ones. Deferred maintenance is exactly what it sounds like. Repairs and replacements that should have been done years ago but didn't. And it's one of the most telling things an inspection can reveal about how a property has been cared for. Here's what to watch for. A roof that's well past its expected lifespan, an HVAC system that hasn't been serviced in years, siding that's starting to rot or separate, wood around windows or doors that is showing signs of damage, or damage to the foundation. None of these are automatic deal breakers, but they tell you something. A home with multiple deferred maintenance issues is a home where problems have been allowed to grow. And that pattern usually doesn't stop at the obvious stuff. When your inspector walks through the property, pay attention not just to what they flag, but how many things they flag. One issue might be routine. A long list of neglected repairs is a signal worth taking seriously before you commit. Why these problems are often missed. So, if all these issues are discoverable, why do so many buyers still get blindsided? It usually comes down to three things. The first is speed. Real estate transactions move fast, and buyers are often juggling emotions, financing, and deadlines all at once. In that environment, it's easy to focus on what's right in front of you and miss what requires a little deeper digging. The second is assumption. Most buyers assume that their agent, their inspector, and the seller's disclosures will catch everything that matters. And those are valuable. Don't skip any of them. But none of those steps are designed to give you a complete picture of every risk attached to a property. Agents are focused on the transaction. Inspectors are focused on the physical structure. Sellers' disclosures only capture what the seller is aware of and willing to share. Nobody in that process is specifically tasked with looking out for you or your financial risk. That responsibility falls on you. And most buyers don't realize that until after they've already closed. The third is simply not knowing what to look for. Most buyers have never purchased property before or have only done it once or twice. They don't know which questions to ask, which records to pull, or which warning signs deserve a closer look. That's not a failure on their part. It's just a gap in information that nobody ever filled for them. That's exactly what this channel is here to do. The issues we covered today are a starting point. Unpermitted structures, zoning restrictions, drainage problems, easements, deferred maintenance. Each one of these is researchable before you close. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to know what you're looking for. In the videos ahead, we're going to go deeper on each of these topics, walking through exactly how to find the right records, what questions to ask, and how to evaluate what you find. If that's the kind of information that would be useful to you, subscribe so you don't miss it. Because the best time to understand a property's risk is before you close. If this was useful, hit the like button and subscribe. We're going to be covering a lot of ground on this channel. And if you're currently looking for a property and have a specific question, drop it in the comments below. We read all of them.